We are here this morning for our second press conference. As we all recall, we had the press conference last week, and due to the solemn and mourning attitude, mourning of the island, we had a lot of questions were not asked, and we therefore decided to have a conference today in order to give the members of the press the opportunity to pose their questions that they had at the last press conference. That, and we will be open for the Minister of TIET and Education will make an introduction, and thereafter we'll be open for questions from the members of the press.
I would like to do some brief presentations on both ministries, the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor, and also I will also go into the Ministry of Education. Two things I would like to bring to light is currently the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor have been carrying out since the month of July under the Department of Collective Preventative Services, Breastfeeding and Work, Let's Make It Work. It was basically a campaign where we brought the awareness of the importance of breastfeeding and how further the ministry will look into making it possible for persons to breastfeed during working hours. That is for further development. What has been taking place is that the awareness has been done on radio programs. We had a breastfeeding cafe that we call session, where we gathered expecting and new mothers in one room, and mothers who have had the experience of breastfeeding. They promoted how breastfeeding worked for them, the importance of it. They shared their experiences, and they also shared ways in which, with the expectant mothers or the new mothers, ways in which to make themselves comfortable in order to prevent the distractions and the confusion and the inability to be able to breastfeed. The campaign continues. There is also the department is also promoting a breastfeeding photo competition in order to still bring the awareness of breastfeeding and the importance of it. Secondly, the Department of Labor Affairs, as I mentioned in the last press briefing briefly, they started a Start Here campaign plan. This campaign, the goals and objectives of this campaign, mainly to boost the job seekers and create a database with 100 academic and tertiary education levels from 100 to 200 persons in total. Also to provide the business community with qualified workers and refer these persons to them, and to process of job seeking employment, make it more accessible and efficient for persons who qualify for the job placement. The target groups, there are two different target groups. One is the academic high school graduates, which will be Marvel, Vavio, Harvard equivalent, and the second target group, tertiary graduates, associates, Habio, college, bachelors, various levels. The Start Here campaign will officially take place on September the 3rd. The event will take place at the Clem La Bega Square in the heart of Phillipsburg. And even though there are target groups, it does not mean that other persons who do not qualify on these levels will not be registered. The Department of Labor Affairs will register all persons in order to ensure that we can assist with job placements for individuals in the community. Those are two main points that I want to briefly mention in terms of the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor. Now, for the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, there are a couple of things that we've been working on, one of which is we have developed a terms of reference for the assessment and the execution of a maintenance plan for 3 to 5 years for all schools. This is in order to prevent or in order to correct the backlog of heavy maintenance that has been going on within the schools. And this plan, the intention is to execute this plan in the year 2016. Secondly, in the latter part of this year, we're hoping that in the month of October, we are beginning a behavioral plan in order to modify certain challenging behaviors that we're seeing in the various schools. There is a special behavior modification pilot program that we're going to execute in the month of October. This has been designed by Student Support Services along with public education. It is a pilot, which means we'll first have an intake of students from within public education, and later, after analyzing this pilot program, we will extend it to the various subsidized schools. The location of this, and I would not like to call it a behavior modification school, but an educational care center, will be where the former Charles Leopold Bell School was housed. There's now a merger between Lionel Connor School and Charles Leopold Bell School that has taken place. Because of the small student population at the Charles Leopold Bell, it was feasible for us to do so. And this educational care center will be housed there. For the last couple of months, we've been doing studying the environment, seeing if it's feasible to have the students there. The process of recruiting staff members to work at this institution is ongoing, hence us having to begin in October. We also have completed a public bid for the design of a cultural track for our national heritage and monuments. And this is currently ongoing also. And the company who will be awarded a contract to the detail and design of the cultural track, the aim is to sensitize the locals and visitors towards our history and our culture and our heritage by viewing these monuments throughout the island. Something else I'd like to mention is that currently we have, alongside study financing, we have been able to grant students talent scholarships to assist them in the field of the arts, whereby, because we know the importance, of creative industries for our economic diversification, and also the needed support for our talented young students in the performing arts, music, and sports. We have granted more than five, my memory serves correctly, more than 5 talent scholarships, mostly in the area of dance, and we're encouraging also in the area of the various art forms to further explore these in the coming years. Last but not least, I would also like to mention that we have expanded the role of our National Sports Institute, and this is in order to properly manage our sports facilities and the expansion of our sports programs for our youth and adults alike. As of July 2015, NSI, National Sports Institute, they're tasked to execute and prepare a positive foundation which will be responsible for St. Martin to develop professional national teams. As we continue to encourage participation in sports, we also would like to have an awareness campaign that's going to begin in the month of September, where we recognize our St. Martin local heroes and heroines in the area of sports. That is all for now, and I do welcome any questions from our media.
Today we'd like to briefly make some statements and a presentation on what the ministry has been busy with for the last couple of weeks and also months, actually. And the first, I would like to begin with an update on the economic summit that was held on May 22nd of this year. In June, a follow-up meeting was held between the ministry and expounding the economic framework via the creation of strategic economic work groups. These work groups cover a range of thematic sectors, sectors such as telecommunications, marine, tourism, agriculture, environment, financial services, trade, real estate, and creative sectors. The the groups were comprised or is comprised of public and private sector experts, and they have set out to develop a holistic approach to the short, medium, and long-term developments within the prospective sectors. These work groups and their tasks have all been finalized, and the work group members, some of the work group members, as a matter of fact, have been off island, so they will be continuing their sessions in the weeks to come. What is important to note here with regards to this national economic framework is that the process that is being followed is in collaboration with the University of St. Martin, and in particular, one of the classes of the university, a critical thinking class, will be collaborating with these groups with their students in the courses to be part of the research, and also to participate in the discussions with the work groups. The students would learn how to analyze, consult with the stakeholders, and in turn create a real-life response to the macroeconomic scenarios that will be presented. Obviously, for me, it is important because of my affinity to the university and the importance that I think that this institution should have within the community, not only in terms of the educational aspect, but also in terms of the country's economic development, and we continuously seek ways to collaborate with the university, and in this case, with this particular program. The process is a very inclusive process, and it will, in my opinion, will reap great benefits, better relationships with the private sector, with our private sector partners and our university, as they would be the ones to pull this process through. The objective of the economic plan is to have this completed by the end of 2015. Secondly, I would like to, and keeping in the same theme, I know that a press release was given after our meeting last week with the FCCA, but in particular, inside of that meeting, the opportunity to discuss employment possibilities for our youth and our population was discussed. I still have to sit with my colleague, the Minister of Education, to work out the process. But the plan for this approach, as far as I'm concerned, would be one of not only from an educational but also a socio-economic development perspective in dealing with our social affairs department to establish with our educational institutions the opportunity to develop and train individuals to be able to work within the industry of cruise tourism, and also to use that development to prepare our young people to be trained in such a way that they would be able to meet the requirements for the cruise ship. So it doesn't matter if it's from the service area, from engineering, whatever positions those cruise ships may have, we would work together with the FCCA to ensure that a program is put in place to prepare our youth and the general population to take advantage of these opportunities. As you know, and I'm sure the Prime Minister will speak more about this in a few minutes, the passing of tropical depression, as it was when it passed us, Danny, instructions were given by the head of government, or the Prime Minister, with regards to the business closure for the purpose of security and to safeguard lives and property. I just would like to reiterate to the general public, with us being under threat of another tropical storm within the next couple of hours, to please pay heed to the instructions given by the authorities and respect those instructions once they've been given. That is it for now, and I look forward to questions coming from the media present.
Prime Minister, in the absence of Finance Minister Mr. Martin Hassing, can you give us an idea of what's happening with the budget 2015 and the budget 2016?
With the budget 2015, there is an amendment to the 2015 budget that is on its way to Parliament. And on the budget 2016, the final preparations are being made to it. We had hoped to have had it completed by now, but it's still on target to have it presented to Parliament by the 8th of September. That's the target date when the opening of Parliament.
You mentioned, I believe it was last week in the Parliament, that the 5th member of the Corporate Governance Council would have been appointed, I believe, this Tuesday. Has that been done, and can you give us the name of that person as well as the others sitting on the board?
That has moved up to next week Council of Ministers meeting, and we cannot release the name at this moment. But we'll have a 5th person there.
5th person. But all the talk about the integrity, now we've had the integrity law to
Chamber.
establish the chamber passed. We do have another law that establishes an integrity bureau. What has happened to that bureau? Is it staffed? Is it working? What has it been doing? I think that law has been in place since 2009.
That law for the Integrity Bureau, is pending. It was never moved up to be fully operational. And we are in the process of manning the Integrity Chamber. The quartermaster is busy putting the framework and everything together. That should be ready, I would say, in the next 2 weeks.
Just one follow-up on that.
Go ahead.
Thank you. On the Integrity Chamber, have you identified the members, at least the St. Martin member, as yet?
We have identified, there are several candidates for the positions on the Integrity Chamber.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your questions. Alida Hilbert, you have the floor.
Okay, good morning.
Morning,
Prime
Albert.
Minister, a question about the relationship with the Netherlands. At the last press briefing, Minister Richardson said that he would not receive Mr. Bouwman anymore. Later on, I understood from Dutch media that there is actually now a general policy not to receive any high-ranking civil servants from the Netherlands anymore unless there is a minister in a company. Is that correct? And what is the situation there?
Well, the situation is that, normally, and I can understand it's a little difficult maybe for us to understand, normally when you have civil servants coming or going to another country, they would meet with their equals, which is civil servants. Mm-hmm. This government, with the intention of having ease relation and to try to better relationship, we have, in particular, in the relationship with the Integrity Chamber and with the maintenance of justice, for the sake of goodwill, met with top civil servants. When I say meet with them, which is a minister with a top civil servant. Not as much has been requested in the past. Quite often, as the procedure is, we would tell the civil servant from the Netherlands, meet with our civil servant, and at the end of the day, work out the technical matters. And on the end of the day, for a briefing session, the minister can be present in a briefing session with both civil servants. In the case of the chief of police, he came and he asked for a meeting with the Minister of Justice. The Minister of Justice, out of goodwill, went ahead and met with him, hoping that there would be an opportunity to discuss in details what was agreed in the protocol between the ministers. Regretfully, what that turned out to be, it turned out to be a meeting with a civil servant who, all indication and appears to me, has an attitude and was pretty blunt and I would say even disrespectful to a minister. And because of that, the following day, as Prime Minister, I called in the Dutch representative and informed him that as of now, the ministers of country St. Martin will not be meeting with civil servants visiting from the Netherlands. Not they are not welcome to the island. Everyone is welcome to this country, to this island. But when top civil servants come to St. Martin now, they will have to meet with our civil servants and let them work out the matters, whatever they are. And at the end of the meeting, when agreements are reached, then our civil servant will inform our minister, whether it goes for education or culture or VSR, whatever. Then our civil servant will inform the minister of the results of the meeting they had. I think this is the way it has to be done. This is the way it's done all over. I cannot take my Secretary General and send him to the Netherlands and ask for a meeting with Plasterk, because Plasterk will not receive him. Same, I cannot take the SG of General Affairs and send to Aruba and tell him go and meet with Amon. Amon will tell you, very sorry, go and meet with your counterpart. It's not that we do not want and that civil servants are not welcome. Everyone is welcome to come. There's a learning process. Our civil servants can learn from Dutch civil servants, can learn from Curacao civil servants, can learn from Arubian civil servants, but also a Dutch civil servant and a Curacao civil servant and an Arubian civil servant can learn something, one or two things from the St. Martin civil servant. So that's what it is. You know, we're going to level the playing fields that you meet with your peers, and not that you come and that you're a big honcho, you're a top gun, and you're going to meet with the minister. It just isn't the proper procedure. Okay. We tolerated it up until now, but as of now, it will not be tolerated anymore.
Okay, okay, thank you.
I think that's clear enough.
Okay. Minister Connor, you mentioned that the university is important to St. Martin. Could you tell me how much subsidy the government gives annually to the university?
850,000.
Actually, that falls, the subsidy falls under the Ministry of Education, and I was just told that the subsidy to USM is 850,000 guilders.
And do you think that's enough?
Well, what is enough? It all depends. I think that that any institution, including the university, should always work towards being self-sufficient. And I think that from an economic standpoint, from the ministry from my ministry, I think giving the university the opportunity to do business, because it's an institution of higher learning, but it's also a business, giving them the opportunity to expand in certain areas would help in dealing with whatever shortfall financially they may have. From years already, I've been. The university has a very special place in my heart because of the fact that since in '89, when I finished school, I came back and I wanted to be part of the university, and I've been part of the university since then. But also the fact that the university has, and I see it has the potential to grow, and as we promote St. Martin as a hub, as a regional hub for right now for millions of tourists that come through the Juliana International Airport and may end up in St. Bart's or in Anguilla, Sabre Station. We can also promote the university being the educational hub of the Northeastern Caribbean. I think that if we look at developing some of the programs that they have, and especially the program that I mentioned in terms of bringing let's say for instance the cruise industry training to the university, that is something that we can export to other islands as well.
Okay, thank you. Now one question for Minister Bourne about the Educational Care Center. Who exactly is that care center going to cater to? What exactly is going to happen there?
What has happened is in the past, from last year, Student Support Services, they did, let's call it an intake on some students who displayed challenging behaviors. They did it not only in public schools, however, also in the subsidized schools. Because it's the first time we're implementing such a institution, we're doing it as a pilot. The pilot is going to cater to students from the public schools, primarily first, and then after we analyze the program, we will open the doors to subsidized schools who indeed would like to make use of such an institution. We're looking at challenging behaviors, aggressive behaviors, students who may or not have, along with the aggressive behaviors, learning disorders. That is why student support services and social needs, student support services are in charge of this project, because it is not only in cooperation of academic needs, but also social needs and behavior modification.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hilbert, thank you very much for your questions. Andrew, good morning. You have the floor.
Good morning. Good morning to the ministers. Minister Bourne, the same educational care center, how many students do you intend to?
Well, because it's a pilot and we would like the classrooms to be small, we're not going to go to a large amount. We're not going to go for full-fledged schools. So we're looking of having 6 to 8 per class. We're looking also to have the school have certain rooms in where students can be allowed to go and have a timeout time, so that in the event they become aggressive, that there's an area where they can go have their time to become calm. So we have to set it up where all of these different aspects are put in place. So a maximum between 30 to 40 students we're looking at, if it so fits that pilot program.
Okay, and also for St. Martin's Day, a public bid was put in place. I don't know if a company was already picked for that.
For the St. Martin's Day, yes, we did put it out in public bid. However, we have not received a good response on bidding for it. I believe there was one company who, at the later time last week, then indicated that they would like to present their proposal. In the meantime, because time was running short, we could not wait. So what I decided to do is put a committee together of persons who've been involved in St. Martin's Day celebrations for numerous years, and have that committee execute the vision under which we would like to celebrate St. Martin's Day this year. The committee, in maybe by next week or 2 weeks, we will release the persons within that committee, as we had some previous meetings, and their idea, along with the vision, they're now currently working out the process in which, through the vision of what I requested of them, it can be executed. However, we wanted the idea in which I presented to the committee of having St. Martin's Day done is so that we bring back the old time St. Martin's Day, where persons feel tradition, feel a sense of unity, however, still have enjoyment, both for our young individuals as well as our older persons in the community.